Well, hello all. We'll get started. So today we are going to be focusing on the performance pack, and we have Dylan and Clayton who will be leading. To go along with it, we'll have some marketing assets from Marty, which he'll kind of put in the chat throughout the call. So we have a comparison sheet for Zero In and for Crush that kind of compares it to other products in the market. We do not have one for Sculpt right now, just to let you all know. Our legal team kind of flagged it for some compliance reasons because when you're talking about weight management, it's a lot more strict with what you can and can't say. And competitors get very mad when you say things about them that might be true. So,
You got to think too,
we-
the competitors are the ones that are like pharmaceutical grade
yeah.
drugs, basically. So it's tough.
So Sculpt is on hold right now. We have been told we cannot do any comparisons for that one for the time being. But Crush and Zero In you will have. So Marty will do that. And then Dylan and Clayton kind of have a two-part today. I'm not sure which one will be starting, but Dylan wants to talk about the performance pack, Crush and Sculpt from a kind of gym and personal trainer perspective to share how you all as ambassadors can approach those that might be personal trainers, work in gyms, work with fitness clients, and
Or
have
even people just go to the gym.
yes. And then Clayton is going to take it from the perspective of kind of the normal, average, everyday person and share how you all as ambassadors can approach those people. Because the nice thing and the amazing thing with the performance pack is it has benefits for both groups of people. It was designed, Dylan picked the three products really from a fitness gym perspective, but Clayton and Dr. Ram also have the niche of how it works for everyday people because it has those benefits. So we'll be hitting both of those, and hopefully you all as ambassadors can take that, take the comparison guides, and keep sharing the performance pack for the rest of the month. Reminder that Performance 30 is a code that all ambassadors can use for the entirety of the month. And it gives $30 off the performance pack. And so I will add that into the chat throughout the call as well. But with that, I am going to hand it over. I'm Dylan. It looks like you might
Yeah,
be starting, and then
it's fine.
Clayton. Okay.
There's one thing I do want to mention is like a housekeeping thing. Good news. We have, as of this week, started our transfer out of our US facilities for our old 3PL. A lot of you who are in, North America have seen how bad shipping has been for the past couple of years. And as of this week, we have started taking all of our inventory out of those bad ship off facilities and done, I started with a transfer into Geodis, which is huge for us. But just understand we are moving all of our inventory right now to the better warehouses, what we just started our contracts with. So just want to give that as an update for housekeeping for ambassadors. That way you can tell your communities that shipping is about to be, I'm good. He's fine. Look at Roland. His lips are moving. But that your communities can be expecting much better shipping. Okay, going past that, as just a baseline understanding, I've talked about this a lot, but I just want to say again, the premise of the performance pack is to kind of work through a pre-workout, an intra recovery part of the workout, and a weight management component. That's the whole purpose. Because technically speaking, you could put Giving Back My Youth, you could put Relive Greens. There's a lot of things that you can say, oh, that has fitness orientation to it, or that has performance orientation as a product. But the biggest thing is we wanted to focus on three key components of what most people look for when not even weight training, but like trying to better their lives in goals of fitness. The first one we talked about a lot. I'm going to skip over this one pretty fast. Zero In, think about it as getting energy, getting focus, and something that people don't fully understand is the mind muscle connection if you are working out. When you have heightened levels of dopamine and serotonin, your brain can function at a higher level when you're working out. So if you're doing a bicep curl, when you pull that in, you can feel and contract in a better way. But just think about the ability to have surplus of energy without the negatives of like a pre-workout or without the negatives of like a Monster or Red Bull or C4, all that kind of stuff where people take high levels of synthetic caffeine and it makes their body crush through that in a bad way. It like they give you tunnel vision, it'll give you racing heart, So that's the benefits of zero in. Then go into the more fun parts. Crush, as I mentioned, that's the intro workout or recovery aspect of this tool. But in reality, what it is, it takes away the need to have to force yourself into a dietary restriction. You don't have to force yourself to get the one-to-one ratio. And what that means is I'm 230 pounds. It would require me to do 1 gram of protein per body weight. That's 230 grams of protein. That's 1,000 calories of protein. That's hard to do when you get up there and try to really hound in on your calories. So what Crush is able to do is it gives you the essential amino acids that help out with benefits of that. And then Sculpt is the way for your body to utilize all the energy for output. Now, the reason I said this really quickly for a brief understanding of the products, if you're a personal trainer and you want an easy go-to pack to give your clients, when I was a personal trainer, if this pack existed, I would tell all of my clients to get on this because it's the easiest way to tell them basic pre-workout energy, amino acids, and then boom, you want to gain weight, but healthily, or you want to lose weight or maintain weight, Sculpt is your aspect. So what Duquesne was mentioning is if you're an ambassador and you're trying to expand the portfolio of people you talk to, try going to some gyms. And the best way to talk about this is go to the manager of the location or the owner of the location of the gym. What you can do is you can say, I have these great supplements that will be perfect for your clientele. What you can do is have the gym sign up as an entity. You would then have all the personal trainers or nutritionists that are working at the gym sign up underneath the gym. So you, as an ambassador, would handhold that manager or owner of the gym and teach the way I'm teaching now what Crush does, what Zero In does, and what Sculpt does. You teach the trainer to be able to regurgitate the same things that I just said in a simple way to their clients. And then you have them get on RPS because the whole point of a trainer or a nutritionist is to give not just 1 month of advice, it's to be able to change their clients' lives for the better in a sustainable way. An example of that is as a trainer, I would never tell someone to do a weird intermittent fasting diet for 2 weeks and then change back to a 5 to 6, food schedule diet. As a trainer, you're trying to give people the ability to change their normal basis of how they normally operate. So that's one of the biggest things about getting a whole gym. And Duque, you want to, I saw you pop back on there.
I'm
I
gonna
wonder-
ask you some leading questions real quick. So,
Okay. You
Dylan,
stretch my chest.
Dylan, as a ambassador, if I'm in an ambassador's shoes, if I was gonna go to a gym or to a personal trainer, what would be the like 3 or 4 pieces of information you would have with you to take and give to that trainer or to that gym to make sure you're optimizing your chance of kind of pitching this to them?
Well, so one, there's the component of the benefits, like what the products do. There's the component of the comparisons, and then there's the component of how will the gym benefit from this? Because at the end of the day, the trainers need to know the benefits and comparisons between our products and other products, which thank you, Marty, for having those for Crush and Zero In. But the trainer will need to know that so they can know how to talk to their clients. They'll need to know the benefits of RPS and how easy it is for their clients to not have to worry about, oh, you don't have to go to GNC. Trust me on this one. One of the scariest things for someone who's new at the gym is showing up to the gym and showing up to a health store or vitamin shop, GNC, whatever you guys have internationally. It's terrifying if you don't feel like you're comfortable in that regard. So for a personal trainer to say, I can get this delivered to your doorstep every single time of the month that you set to it. That's massive for a trainer because that breaks the barrier of the client having to do something themselves. Uh, and then three, the last one, the money component. When you're pitching this to someone, the trainer should know that they're going to make money off of it, but the gym should know overall they're going to make money. So I would have a different conversation when I talk to the owner. I would say, here's how the structure is going to look. Here's how every time your clients buy products, your gym as a whole loses nothing but gains everything. And then the last piece of the benefits for the gym, I would talk to the trainer or the owner and say, how many other gyms are truly partnered with a supplement company that gives another form of payment to the trainers? That means it's a selling point to get more personal trainers and nutritionists to the gym because that's a secondary job that trainer gets to work at and make more income for themselves while giving the benefits of the great products to their clients.
And
The
so just to kind of go over that, so Dylan said the product information is key, a comparison guide so that they know what it looks like or how it is versus competitors, and then knowing how they'll earn funds and how they'll share it with their customers. And so I want you all to see that you actually have all of those parts that Dylan said are priority because marketing team has made the info cards so you can give that to them. Any trainer or gym will want to see the label and see what's in it. Two, they'll want to know how it compares or what makes you all different. So we have that comparison guide. And then three, how they'll earn from it and how they'll use a referral link. So that is where you all as ambassadors, that side is on you all to do. But the other pieces marketing has provided so that you all will have those and you can give them to a trainer or a gym. And that's the priority of what they're looking for. They want to make sure they know what the product is. They want to make sure it's different and they're behind it. And then three, they want to make sure they know how they'll benefit from it. Gyms and trainers, and Dylan can go into this a little bit more, but they're used to working in a model like this. When Dylan was a trainer and an influencer, he worked with this model all the time. So you're not going to super scare them off by talking about it because that's how they work. And Dylan, you can touch on that a little bit more because I know you know more, but we've had that experience very often. Anytime we talk with a personal trainer, this is not a weird model for them. It is not a hard conversation to have with them. You're muted though.
Is it my turn?
No,
Can we go some
yeah, give
stuff?
me one more piece just to say this, and then
Oh,
we can rip into it because I know you got some stuff. Um, Something to remember though, when you're talking about the benefits of why our products are better, the trainers are also going to look for the pieces of what's missing. And what's missing from our products are the fillers and the additives that are detrimental to success. If you're looking at supplements as a holistic perspective, as a personal trainer, I would never want to give someone a sugary type of pre-workout or give them like a chocolate flavored protein shake afterwards because that's not healthy at the end of the day. I would never tell a client to try something if I didn't believe it myself. And going to very quickly, so me and Clayton get into the second half. When I was a personal trainer, the gyms are usually partnered or they have some kind of wholesale or some kind of deal with supplements. That's if you ever go to the gym and you see like a row of supplements behind the counter, that's not them making those products. That's them partnering with a supplement brand to sell to the people as they walk in. That's very natural. Um, Gyms will do that no matter how good the products are, but the trainers and nutritionists don't have to promote those products if those products don't reach their standards. So like I worked for the actual UT gym, but I also work for another like a gym. It's workout anytime. And if you know those gyms, those cookie cutter gyms that they don't care about the standards, they just care about the money flowing in. So if you bring a standard that brings money, but the standards up to the personal trainer or the nutritionist level, that's going to be huge. So that's the last thing I want to mention. So Clayton, you can start getting into it.
okay.
One quick point, Clayton, and sorry, because I saw this question. This is not just for holistic gyms or holistic trainers. This works for any gym, any trainer. A lot of those who are in the fitness space, you will have those that don't care about that, but there will always be those in the fitness space that want no fillers and want products to be all natural. It's not necessarily just holistic gyms. Any trainer or gym will have an interest in that because they'll have clients that that's what they're looking for. So as a trainer, you usually have a array of products. They might not just promote one product, but they'll want to have some product they have that is no fillers, all natural ingredients.
You can ask any athlete, you can ask any person that is active one question. This is what you guys can lead with if you want to talk to athletes, if you want to talk to people that are competitive. So we'll make this really simple. Here's the question. Do you like winning? Now, if you like winning, you'll do this our way. If you like other people beating you, keep doing what you're doing. I'll give you case in point. Well, so Dylan just went over the sports aspect. Now let's talk about everybody else. If you're European, right? Because we have a very large German and European influence. 80% of our community is female, right? Right now on this call, 80% of the attendees are women. Ladies, you can't eat enough protein right now to feed your body what it needs to build the muscle that you need to live a long time. You can't eat it. Two, you can't afford it. If you knew how much meat you need to consume in order to get your body the protein you need to maintain a muscular physique, not massive. This is one of the flaws in fitness. Women with muscle won't get massive. They get lean, right? You get to be healthy, strong, functional, living a long time with strong bones and strong muscles and strong connective tissue. So you can't afford to eat the way you need to live. Yes, Claire, your biceps get big when you do this because you use your arms a lot and you actually need the muscle. You should have muscle. I don't work out. I just use massive amounts of crush and throw the tennis ball with the dogs. And I've worked out 3 times this year. You can be proud of me. That's once every month so far. 3 months in, I'm proud of myself. I'm ahead of last year. So if you do the research based on age and the amount of protein you need to consume, the older you get, the more you need. One, the types of food that you need to consume in order to maintain longevity the way that we are created to. One, aren't available, and two, you couldn't afford. Crush is a protein catalyst, as Dylan was going over. It is an additive. It is really the foundation that you're creating in your lifestyle, that then the consumption of whatever your protein sources are based on the rest of your diet is going to be amplified by the use of crush. Crush fills the gaps of everything that you can't eat. You can be a kid, you can be a teenager, you can be an adult, you can be older. This will save you money, loads of money. In the United States, an average steak right now that is about a 12 to 14 ounce steak runs about $16 to $20. The average human, regardless of age, actually needs to eat like at least two of those a day. So imagine spending $40 a day just on the meat component if you're an O or a B blood type that you need just to maintain where you are. But that doesn't mean that the food supply isn't loaded with chemicals, isn't depleted in nutrients, and isn't being grown in environments that are completely toxic. And all three of those are true.
Clay, before we keep going, can I tie off something you just said a
Yes.
little earlier back? You mentioned something that, ladies, the older you get, the more protein you have to consume. It's also true of the aspect, the older you get, the less your body can actually process. So Clay's example was a 12-ounce steak. A 12-ounce steak is generally going to have between 20 and 30 grams of protein. Those 20 and 30 grams, the older you get, the less your body can actually utilize. And so if you're a normal person not going to like a gym to talk about this, talk to people about true facts. You need to have protein in your diet or you will not live a healthy lifestyle. The older you get, the less your body can actually take in those protein calories and utilize them to break them down into essentially amino acids and amino acids, branch chain. The older you get, the more you need help from outside sources like HMB, which I'm sure Claire's going to get into, but it helps the body's protein synthesis structure. So the more you take that and the more you tell people to take Crush, the better they're going to be utilizing their normal diet. I just want to touch on that to make sure people knew why it
Let's
was important.
let's go real quick because we're not going to hit on the science of everything of what makes this so valuable, but I want to hit on three things so everybody understands these pathways, right? Because there's no other brand or series on the planet that you can go to one brand that has every piece of these equations taken care of. And here's a hint. Everybody here, I don't care if you're watching this recording or you're here now or you're going to talk to somebody, there isn't a single person that you're going to come in contact with that is a bioscience engineer and a nanotechnologist that understands how the operating system works that can take every single product that you're being told anywhere else that is going to show you the pharmacokinetics of how each of those is going to work together to give your body what it needs. There's zero. There's no other options. So in this, all of this protein metabolism, and this is so important right now because of what's going, oh, wow, AI Zoom. This is so important right now because of what is going on in the GCC, in Iran, and is going to be happening around the world. We're going to have food shortages. So, one, you need to have an ample supply of the things that your body needs to maintain its function. So if the fight or flight response becomes necessary, that you are not a victim of your environment, right? Your liver metabolizes protein into the amino acids that your body then can use to make connective tissue, whether it's muscle, connective tissue like tendons and ligaments, and bone. These things are important. Crush bypasses the need for eating massive quantity, decreases that down to little bits of fillerless powder that is not just giving you the amino acids and peptides, but the liver metabolites and the additional assistance necessary for your body to synthesize these things in a way that's never been done before. So, Dylan, HMB, the liver metabolites in conjunction with these, have you ever seen anything like this combined?
Now, back when Crush was first released, I actually did a study for the people inside the office. Uh, and HMB, again, is a product by itself for most companies, but no other company has all or seven of the nine, but all nine function essential amino acid functions in the product together, along with the oxidative stress supporters and the ATP functions all in one product. There is not a product on the market that does the same thing.
So, I'm going to take the other because Nick's here is my young homie, right? Nick's the young guy. If you're a young guy, there's a talk about creatine. Creatine's a freaking joke compared to what Crush can do for lean mass and production, right? If you're taking creatine, you need Crush. Am I not wrong, Dylan?
So funny enough, people before we keep going on that because people confuse what creatine is. Creatine is a natural thing in the body. When you take creatine as a supplement, it doesn't matter how it is, it's improving the normal process of the body. but creatine relies on functions of muscular output, which needs amino acids to function. Creatine as a function doesn't have benefits if you don't have the protein breakdowns at the same time.
So this makes it fun for those of you that want to do outreach and using what we have. Like Nick, I'm putting a challenge to you because you got all these young guys that are pitching creatine. You need to reach out to every person you know on social media. Could be like one of the guys that has a hit streak, and then in every other guy in your age group. Because here's the thing that young people want. Young people want muscle. They want to be functional. They want to be successful. But you know what most young people don't have? A lot of money, right? So they can't afford to actually do the things that would be ideal for them based on the need to eat. We bypass all of that, right? So we're going to give you all of the tools to function the way that you're made to with a financial mechanism that's going to reward you for sharing it. That's more advanced and more rewarding than anything on the market currently. And if you don't believe me, quiz me.
And I do want to just reemphasize, and I see we have a question, which is good, but I do want to reemphasize that what Dylan and Clayton are talking about is that this isn't just for young people who are wanting to go to the gym, though. I I do think Nick, you're in a similar place as us, where like a lot of our friends are trying to hit the gym right now because you graduate college and you let yourself go a little bit, and you're like, okay, time to get
No.
back. Not you, Dylan.
Okay.
But
Is Julie on here?
you can see the chat because of the conversation on H and B. That is particularly useful for those who are losing muscle, which is those who are aging. And so I think that's an important part. I think sometimes the performance pack and Crush loses interest for people because they think it's only for Dylans in the world. But what Clayton and Dylan are trying to say is that it is for everybody. Dylan, I see you were going to add something, but then I see
Yeah.
Petra and Nick have questions. But I don't want to
Yeah.
lose the talk track that we're trying to show you this isn't just for those in the gym.
Let me hit on two
One,
things. I'm going to hit on two things, Dylan. After you hit on that, then we'll do questions because these two things are important.
yeah. Let me do just one thing to kind of tie off why it's good for everyone. The other things I didn't really get to was the oxidative stress supporters. So like your juniper berry, the milk thistle seed, glutathione, stuff like that is really good for oxidative stress support. So even if your goal isn't to build lean muscle mass or do higher output, your body breaks down every single day. The more we age, the more the interior of our bodies breaks down, the worse the functionings happen. Again, my biggest example is just taking in protein in your diet is harder the older you get, but also your joint support. Like things break down, and you have to have well, the stuff that's inside Crush in a diet in some way or shape or form. And Crush just is an easy way to do it because it's all in one serving.
Guys,
That's
and
all I want
here's one thing that you can look at to understand where you can be supportive in different areas that you never imagined. And Dylan and Duquesne don't talk about this much, but I've got a challenge for Dylan to work on this. One of their best friends broke his neck in a freak diving accident a few years ago, and he's a paraplegic, right? So he's paralyzed from about the sternum down. And he uses his arms a lot, but he's now has a colostomy bag, so he can't metabolize food the way he needs to maintain the bodily function that he does. So Dylan's actually going to be working with him to put together a root protocol to start feeding his body what it needs because he can't eat the amount of meat and everything that would be necessary to because it's too much bulk. His system can't use it anymore. You have people that are in specific states of bodily distress. You can look at the diagnoses of Parkinson's, ALS, MS, you can any neurological issue, any age related issue, they can't eat the way that they need to heal because your body needs strength and energy in order to regenerate. We solve that. Two, Julie's not on here, but I'm going to give you a quote from Julie Aarons. Julie's 61 years old. She's lost about 20 years in the last year because of adding Sculpt and Crush into her workout. But here's the thing. Julie is 61 years old. She's very active because she wants to be good for a long period of time. She started using Crush now. I think it's about what, 60 days, 60, 90 days. She's 70% stronger than she's ever been with her trainer. She's improved her strength by 70% at the age of 61. And she's lost about 2 decades when you look at her, because I know her. Ladies, and we're in the fitness craze for women right now because women want their butts to look amazing in yoga pants. If you want your legs and your waist to look outstanding, crush it. I would strongly encourage you to take that campaign. I would welcome a challenge for all of you to see how many women you can get to have amazing butts in 30 to 60 days from a little activity and more crush. Because ladies, that's your space. I'm not going to talk about it. Dylan's not going to talk about it. Duquesne's not going to talk about it because we can't do this. Ladies, this is your world. So those two things, crucial. Okay, Q&A.
Petra, I know. So, Duquesne, don't let me forget to talk about Andy's question that was in the chat. I touched on it a little bit, but we're going to go with Petra first for your question. If you want to unmute. Are you still there? Petra, are you there?
Let Nick go.
Okay, we'll come back to Petra.
Nick knows
So,
how to.
fellas, okay.
Oh, brother.
You guys hit on a couple of different things there. So the first thing, reiterate that on the creatine side of things. You said it's pretty much useless unless you have the 9 amino acids.
So,
It's a pretty important point if I can figure out what that you meant there.
okay, so Clay, you can touch on it if you want to as well. The way I was always told this is creatine is a natural process in the body. The same way that, you take in amino acids, if you just take protein, you will break those protein calories down into the breakdown of the kilocalories and the kilocalories down into the amino acids. The body does that normally. But if you give HMB to the body, the process of breaking those down is better. If you increase your mTOR pathways, that's better. If you look at the benefits of creatine, which helps with recovery, speed, like output, even like pump. So what does creatine sometimes do? It helps with the water intake and utilizing water to the specific muscle area. But what does that need to do? It needs to be able to have the microfiber tears. It needs to have the output from the ATP, and the body has to have the same components. And I'm probably talking way too fast. I'll slow down. The body, yeah, the body has to have the components in there to be able to do what creatine has to have it help with. So if you look it up, it helps with like gaining muscle or sprinting. It helps with athletes a lot. Creatine is great for that. But if you take creatine and you're like my wife who has only spaghetti and carbs but doesn't have any protein, then your body doesn't have the nutrients in it to do what creatine is trying to make it do. Creatine as a supplement, in my mind, is not a bad thing. But taking creatine alone and just thinking you're going to be a healthy person is outlandish.
Stressing.
Because yeah. Well, so Nick, does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'll
like
have
if
to know
someone,
more about that, but yeah.
Duquesne was mentioning a lot of our friends right now are going back to the gym because they realize they got out of shape. What do a lot of people do? They start Googling best supplements to get in shape fast. A lot of times you'll see creatines pop up. So a lot of people who just want to do a quick fix will buy a creatine, but not realize what it actually does to the body. Creatine is a natural substance that works through the body's process. It's a natural thing. But creatine doesn't help unless you put the other aspects in the body to help propel it.
Okay, that makes sense. And I had two more just quick questions here.
Mm.
So Clayton kind of hinted on a little bit there, something about the MS too, and like different like symptoms like that. Where was he going with that exactly? Just mainly because I'm doing a big charity event with like Mendoza, and like it's all towards the MS. So I thought, I don't know if there's a way to integrate that. I just kind of, that was interesting.
I will let him talk on that because I don't want to make any kind of claims about MS and what the products can do. So Clayton, if you have a way to not talk about claims with MS and the products,
Well, yeah, we don't have to talk about claims. That's the thing. We're not treating any diseases because they don't exist.
no.
So if you have like multiple sclerosis, or you're diagnosed with multiple sclerosis or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. And is it amazing that, we've had this increase in glyphosate exposure and mercury exposure for a long period of time, and now everybody's got ALS and they got vaccinated? Sorry, I'm just tracing etiology. Diseases don't exist. So for all of you that are talking to people and they're like, I have this, the first thing that you can do for people is to let them know you don't have a disease, you don't have a disorder, and you don't have a syndrome. That way we get rid of the conversation of people thinking that they have a problem, right? You don't have a diagnosis. You've been told by a doctor, most likely one, not a whole bunch of them, that have actually looked at your entire lab profile, your genetic profile, your history to understand what underlying issues might be there. No, you have one that tells you you have an issue. You don't. There's a book written on this called Cure the Causes. You might want to read it. It's in multiple languages. You might want to tell every one of your friends, buy the book. It's not about diagnosis. You guys, you know how many people quote The Matrix? Right? Have you heard of that movie? Here's the hint from the movie. There is no spoon. The spoon is your friend's diagnosis. It doesn't exist. It's not real. You have a bunch of symptoms predicated on what's causing the problem. If you solve the problem and you feed this what it needs, you don't have issues. That's not a cure. Guys, here's the thing. If you want to have fun with your friends in conversation, you cure meat. You cure bacon. You don't cure. Maybe you do cure diseases, because to cure means you prolong. We don't deal with those things. So you have to understand there's one quantum physicist, nanotechnologist, and bioscience engineer on the planet that has actually created an entire series that addresses every aspect of human function and performance. Watch this. If you're eating meat, meat has protein and essential fats. Dylan, before you work out, what are you taking? Are you taking Crush? And
Yeah, actually, I just told I put it in the chat here, but before I work out, I'll take Zero In, Crush, and Sculpt together.
And KO3, because you're putting in the omega-3s with the astaxanthin. So you're getting the essential fats to go along with the protein synthesis to stack and give the body the perfect combination of everything all at once, but it's already basically metabolized.
To kind of help finish this one off with the next question, Nick, just because of like how we're allowed to talk on things specifically, join the
Did he freeze?
Yeah, on mine too. Yeah.
How did we get a frozen mustache? What happened?
Don't know, because we're literally on the same Wi-Fi.
Hold on. Maybe it's his computer, but we got him a new computer. Yeah, go fix this. So that's a great pause. So here's what I want to do. Angelique, can you unmute real quick? You can't figure out how to do it either. It's amazing. This is
I can't wouldn't show me my microphone.
so you're a little bit different than Dylan and Duquesne.
I hope so.
You are what I like to call a woman.
Yes.
And you also have a couple black belts in martial arts.
3.
So you're an athlete. 3. That's 3 more than me. right? I don't even wear a black belt or a brown belt anymore because my pants fit the way that they're supposed to. But you studied a lot of health and fitness.
Yeah.
Can can you take what you've learned so far with being in house and what you've seen and what you can gather from this conversation and apply this to women?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for giving me the floor, and I've learned so much just listening to the call and from Dylan Duquesne and yourself, Clayton. Um, I came from a background of professional martial arts, and then I went into professional fitness. So I went the route of competing on stages, doing the magazine covers and the shoots and all the things. And the whole goal of that was to get as closest to the muscle as possible so that you could literally photograph well, showcase well, as well as perform well. Now I'm in my 40s. I have 3 children, and the game has changed, right? I'm not training the same way that I used to train. Although it's hard for me to overcome the mentality of not wanting to lift really heavy weights and throw things around in the gym. But what I will tell you is this: they say all the time, and I'm sure Dylan can attest to this, especially for women, is we need to eat at least a gram of protein per pound of body weight. Well, when your job is not to walk around with chicken and broccoli and eat it every 2.5 to 3 hours with a gallon of water, and you have 3 kids and a career, and your life changes that much, it's really hard to not only remember that that amount of food needs to be intake, but also to prepare it, afford it, and make sure everyone else is eating too. So what I've learned, from being in house and about these products is, especially when it comes to crush, is with 1/3 of a teaspoon of crush. And Dylan can either attest to this or tell me I'm wrong, but it's almost as if you're synthesizing the same amino acids if you would have eaten 20 to 30 grams of protein. Now, I don't know about you, but that's far more affordable and also a lot easier to do than carrying my fruit around in Tupperware again. I think the most important thing to remember is we do need our macros, but we also need our micros. I used to count all my macros. I always knew how much fat, how much protein, how much carbohydrates, but I didn't really know in terms of the micronutrients, the things that we're talking about here and their importance until much later on in my career. So I think the best part about this is this just makes whatever your habits are better. I don't care what season of life you're in, whether you're a bodybuilder, throwing weight around in the gym, or, a high performance athlete, a weekend warrior, a mom chasing her kids in a career, a dad with trying to get out of their dad bod or maintain a better one. Like the whole point is that everyone has different needs in different seasons of life. And when you know that it's about supporting the body, not just forcing the body, your body's going to give you a much better output. And so my routine now has been simplified tremendously. I find that I don't have to eat as often or as much as I thought I needed to, and I'm still able to see results. And ultimately, it's more about supporting the other systems of my body that are equally as important, right? Hormones, neurotransmitters. Because if you're physically and mentally not performing at your best through other systems in your body, it doesn't matter how much you're eating, you're still going to feel like garbage. And especially the way the food system are today, not most people aren't eating organic. Most people aren't growing their food. So you need practical, simple ways to support what your body is actually looking for versus hoping that you get it right through, big chain food markets and the food system that unfortunately is broken and bankrupt.
Okay, now.
Go. Okay, Nick is good. I just wanted to check. And thank you, Angelique. And Dylan is on his phone, but he's still not able to. Oh,
I fixed it now. The Wi-Fi was, yeah, I'm good now. I did want to address Andy's question from earlier that I can't see now because it kicked me out of the Zoom, so I can't see the earlier messages. But I believe the question was something about the best selling points for a type of gym or activity, like place where people go to try to tone. Um, the best selling points is telling people that come to that location the thing you're putting in your body, you want it to be the highest level, because when people are already paying money to go to a gym for a group fitness class, body pump class. So the attendees are already paying money for you to tell them the best ways to get in shape. They're looking for you as an owner of that location to guide them to being in on the straight path of doing the best to get the best benefits. And the best selling point is most of those places for like body pumps or studios are people, women who are wanting to tone their body, have better energy, well, look better at the end of the day. You have to have a lower calorie diet. So what Angelique and David and Clay were talking about, you have to have a diet that consists of high protein, but you have to have it in a caloric deficit, and you have to be able to use your calories efficiently. How do you do that? One, Crush helps with the protein, and then Sculpt helps with your glycogen management and your ATP, your energy. So if you have Sculpt while you're getting your Crush and your protein, Sculpt will take your energy and use it efficiently. So all they said it's 40 plus for women. I guarantee you their energy is down. I guarantee they probably feel very sore after the workout sessions. I guarantee they want to be able to still do all that, but do it consistently and feel better. That would be the best talk track of that for those two products specifically. I hope that answers the question a little bit. I know I took like a 10-minute pause on that.
Thanks, Dylan. I want to get Petra if she's back, and if not, we'll go to Nurse Christy. So let's see.
Christy, go for it.
All right.
Okay. Well, I wrote a couple of notes, and then Clayton and Petra hit on them with the need for protein when your body is healing. So it's not just about workouts, it's not just about gaining muscle, it's about healing your body, and your body needs energy to be able to heal. So I'm not going to go into that, but I wanted to share an update on William, who is the veteran that I've been working with, Clayton, who when I started working with him, when he started the Trinity Pack over a year ago, he weighed 93 pounds and the VA wanted him to be on hospice. About, I don't know, 8 months ago, he started using Crush, and he weighs 170 pounds now, and is not like so frail that he can't move. Like Crush literally was the component that he needed to go from sustaining to living. Like he can get out of bed now. He has the strength to walk from his bed to his bathroom, from his bedroom to his kitchen. He's no longer using TPN for his main nutrition because his gut has healed enough that he could not only consume the root products, but if he feels like having some shrimp or a steak or whatever, he can consume that stuff as well. But he completely switched from having all of his nutrition via a central line, so it was all like an IV, to integrating the root products, and now he's no longer on the TPN, and he's not, most of that time he was not lifting weights, he was not at the gym, he was not, he just was trying to live. So it's not just the name Performance Pack. It's great, but don't let that discourage you from reaching out to a wide group of people, because it can help so many people. It really can. For me, I've talked about myself a lot because I've been dealing with mold, and the particular strand of mold that I have is not exactly easy to deal with, but I don't know, maybe 3 months ago, Dr. Rom was talking about mold again, and it came up from the first time that I heard her, and Crush was integrated into the root brands, and she spoke about the need for Crush, and since then I increased my consumption to 3 to 4 times a day, and I physically can tell the difference. So, I still am not physically capable of going to a gym, like I used to, but it's it's better now, just my ability to just live and do things that I enjoy, um, just by adding the crush. So I wanted to share those so that people did have some testimonials, some examples of not the gym rat, so to speak, that crush is beneficial. So
Yeah. Thank you, Nurse Christie. That actually brings up an interesting point that we haven't talked about since we launched this. But when we launched this pack, there was discussions in HQ if we were going to name it the fitness pack, because that's what we were leaning towards originally. And we purposely changed to the performance pack because of what Nurse Christie is talking about, that it isn't just for fitness, it really is for performance. And that might be in athletics or fitness, but that might just be everyday performance. Every human being has to perform and survive and live every day. And so that's why the name was changed to performance, because it truly does help everyday people with their living performance, not their performance on the rugby field or in the gym, but just everyday living performance. And I forgot that that actually is one of the reasons we did not name it the fitness pack, and we should probably talk about that a little bit more, because I think we talked about that in office, but we forgot to explain that. So that's on us. Um, awesome. And thank you for sharing, Nurse Christie. I know that it is not always the easiest to be vulnerable like that, and I appreciate you sharing your story with us. I think we have Michelle, and we'll try to get Petra one last time before the end.
And I had a question that I
Hi.
saw, so after Michelle, I'll say that.
Hi, guys. I'm gonna put myself out there, and I don't do that a lot, so I'm kind of nervous. So I am 66. I have had one hip replaced, and that was 2.5 years ago. So the other hip is causing me considerable issues, but it doesn't feel like a joint issue. It feels muscular. Um, and I've read a whole lot of stuff out there about things that happen after menopause when your cortisol levels go up and it eats away at the muscle and um, and stuff like that in an older person. Um, so I've been doing all the products, but I don't like overdo them. I just kind of do the daily thing, and go on. But now I'm starting, after hearing what you guys are talking about, um, I could maybe just be muscle wasting in that other hip. Is that,
Uh,
because of,
to not go
yes.
into like a claim, but to talk in a very broad perspective, when your body is hungry, and I'm using very general wording here, when your body's hungry, it consumes calories for fuel, which could be proteins for muscle recovery, carbs will be for energy. If you're in ketosis, it'll be fats. Um, but so the older you get and the more damage your body is for oxidative stress, the more damage your body is for just wear and tear, the more it consumes itself than you think it does. And if you don't have a high level of supportive macros, your body's not going to have the ability to function correctly. And again, not saying anything that might make a claim, but people do get like muscle soreness easier. If you ever notice, the older people get, the more likely they are to bruise, and the longer bruises will stay because the body's not able to heal and properly function. So unfortunately, I don't know enough from like year one instance, but there is a good opportunity that like diet is a huge thing. No, actually, it's probably based on diet.
Also,
Right. I I basically I eat very little carbs. I mean, I try to stay away from them altogether. And so I would say that I have a high protein diet as far as I can, as much as I can eat, you know.
Mhm.
Um, so, but I'm thinking
See,
now after hearing you that in increasing my crush, but
so I,
by
there's a couple things that I'm going to say without pinpointing to like a way. One, Duquesne and I, when we had joint issues, we did take products like Crush, but we also took Give Me Back My Youth because the benefits that collagen has on joints and supporting your ligaments, tendons, and cartilage. Um, and then also, we talked about how people need to do a one-to-one ratio of protein to body weight, but I haven't touched on that much about your body can't actually intake more than about 30 grams of protein per serving, per sitting. So, like if you have a high protein diet, which you might not if you're not taking any carbs, because as we've all learned, if you're in ketosis and not glycolysis, your body has to have more protein and more fats to compensate for the lack of carbs. But so your body, if you're not in like a state where you're using carbs for fuel, most likely you need to increase protein more than you think. So if you're not taking carbs for energy, your body needs more energy from protein itself. So taking Crush as not a meal replacement, but a meal additive is a very good thing.
So I'll give you guys some tools to wrap this with because I know Duquesne is looking at the clock going, wait a minute, because he likes to be on time because his teaching mode steps in. So here, and I know most of you are looking at the alternatives in this universe. So take this treat with you. The human body is not what we've been taught, right? We now know, and is talked about everywhere, that the body's bioelectrical, right? The electromagnetic frequency concerns that people have are due to the fact that the body is bioelectrical and we exist in a bioelectrical environment. The body runs on a quantum computing system controlled by your soul. This mechanism is bioelectrical and frequency based. It does not run on digestion. It runs on frequency metabolism. So that means you do not need to count calories. The body doesn't need calories per se, as we've been taught. It needs nutrients. It needs highly functioning nutrients that are all stacked strategically because you can't get what you need in one thing. We would call this intelligent design. So find where you start. It could be Crush and Sculpt. It could be Clean Slate. It could be the Trinity. It could be the Dr. Ron pack. It could, oh, Regina will tell you she's closer to 100 than she is 40. She's closer to 100 than she is 50. But you can't eat what you need to be what your creator intended. But
So,
you can consume.
Clayton,
I want to,
you,
Regina,
yeah,
sorry, and I will let you go. I want to add one disclaimer before we move on. Dr. Ron
okay.
is looking to do some later in the year root use and other topics on menopause specifically, because I know that was one part of the question, and I don't want three guys to sit up here and say they have the answer on that because that is not true. So I do want to just add the caveat that Dr. Rom does have that as a topic for Root U, and we will actually have more women come on and maybe give some talks on that because I think it's a really interesting topic with Crush and Sculpt. And I want to make sure we have plenty of women scientists, learners, educated who have that knowledge. So we will make sure that they also come on, including Dr. Rom, and talk about that aspect of it as well, because I don't want three guys to sit up here and talk on that part because there are much more knowledgeable people than us on it. So there's my teacher mode coming in just to make sure I say on that part we do hear you, and then I will let Regina go.
Okay, thank you that you give me the chance just to add some short thoughts I have, maybe to Michelle as well, because from my opinion, it is very important, really, like Clayton just told us, that we have a big range of different things. What I can tell you, all of them Root has in his like portfolio. It is such a big chance for everybody to really get his biological age reversed many years. And Clayton just made a joke that I'm nearly 100. This is not true. I'm 80, so I just have 20 years missing, and I easily will crash this number 100. You will all see me on this stage then, I can tell you. But Michelle, maybe if you really, like Dylan just mentioned, think of taking, if you do not, the give me back my youth, because every single part of our body has to be elastic, and being our veins or these our muscles have to be like this, and every fascia we have, it has to be elastic and has to be in the state of shrinking and getting wide and so on. And if we move, we need all of this. So if you can manage, let's think about this, that you might need more of whatever you think. These Crush and Sculpt, I can tell you, I started only with Crush because if I take the Sculpt, I lost 1 kilo overnight. I couldn't start with this, but now in the meantime, I take it, but I just need 1 capsule of Sculpt and take the Crush every day. And as you can see, I think I have 51 kilo or 52. It just varies a little bit, but I never had more, and I'm very lucky to say this, that my figure didn't change all the years, and I could keep it like this. It's not easy. All these 6 years or 5 years, no, it's 5 years with Root, my silhouette did not change. And from backside, I look like 16, maybe like this. But front is, I have a little, let's say, age wrinkles in my face. I'm not having any filter on my face now. And so you can see it here and there I have, but I'm happy with this. And this is and you all could use this. This is like a secret, because the people on the street, because I'm always with a headband, always dressed very poor like this. I'm an artist. So everybody who knows me know that the people asking me, oh, you're looking good. And this is always the first step. I say, okay, I'm 80s. Thank you for the compliment. Then the people ask me, what are you taking? So I don't have to go to the people and say, oh, I have something for you. This might help you with whatever, your diabetes or whatever. So I have another, deal with the people, because they ask me. I never had to come to the people and say, so this, you need this. So if I tell them, I take all the products Root offers, every single thing I use. So you need to do something that you can earn the money to pay this. So you, it's so easy. So you have just to do what Clayton and all the others or the leaders are teaching you. It's so easy. If you go this way and the elder you are, don't make you younger. It's not a good idea. I always had told the people when I was 75, I told them, oh, I'm just on the way to 80. So now I start to go, I'm starting the way to, let's say 85. 90 is a little bit, they will never believe me. So I start this now. I just want to tell you, don't be shy to go outside and let your light shine. If this happens when you use all the products, this will happen automatically, and the people will come up to you. You just have to lift up your eyes and smile to the people. That's all what you need to do, nothing more. So that's I'm done. Okay.
Thank you, Regina. And thank you all for the call. Thank you for everybody who shared today. Quick recap. We shared the marketing comparison guides. Um, there is the info cards as well that goes over the performance pack. We are running the special Performance 30 for $30 off the performance pack so that ambassadors can help promote it and have that as a tool to use. And we talked about how for fitness and performance and in the gym and on the field, the performance pack is amazing. But we also talked about how performance in everyday living, the performance pack and specifically crush are so important for that. Having the building blocks for muscles in crush is needed by everybody, especially as we age. And I just want to encourage everybody. I do take almost all of the products at this point, other than some of the clean spirits products, but I'm taking it every day. But remember, there is a starting point for people. So if somebody is new coming on, you don't have to necessarily overwhelm them, or if they have one product that might be their focus, it's okay to focus on that. I take a year or a month every year where I really just take the Trinity and I kind of do a full re-detox, and then I start adding the products back on. That is not saying you all have to do that. That's just what works for my body. But I just want to add that reminder when you are talking with people, if they are having a specific issue, start small with them, tell them what might work for that, and let them try it. And then you can talk about the other products down the road. And if people are having those issues, then Crush is a really great place to start. So that's a recap of the call today. Thank you all for joining. Reminder, next Monday is our community and testimony day. So if you all have stories about Crush or Performance Pack, or just a win of somebody in your community, please join because those community day calls have been really amazing recently. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.